Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Round 5 AFL review, going through the 8 games played this round. And we have got the upset round of the season thus far. I reckon 1, 2, 3, 4 upsets with this round, and there were 2 extraordinarily close upsets as well. So a really exciting round of football, a round where I'm sure many people got a very poor score on the tipping front. But we'll move straight onto our first game, which was Melbourne taking on the Brisbane Lions, which I guess was... Did anyone see it coming? Maybe. Brisbane had to win this game. Well, it felt like they had to win this game to stay in contention with the top 4. And they did. They did, and they thoroughly deserved it. Now, the scoreline was 60-82, but they definitely deserved a much bigger scoreline. It was just later on towards that game, Melbourne started to get a little bit of, scoreboard action happening. But it should have really been a 40-point victory to Brisbane. They were dominant the whole game. Melbourne could not break through that system. They were far too good. Brisbane just need to play quick. Like, when you watch Brisbane, the difference between Brisbane now and before is Brisbane now, they play with bravery. They play quick through the middle. They play as if they've got nothing to fear. And now they're playing good football. So they were clearly playing too slow, kick mark, overthinking things beforehand. But, now they're playing a much better brand of football. I thought the whole team was really good. Cam Rayner was absolutely phenomenal. It is worth noting that Salem did go down early with an injury, and Salem's a pretty important player to their defensive line, the Melbourne Football Club, but they were just outrageously good. Cameron was great. I thought he was really lively. I thought the forward line worked really well together, the Brisbane forward line, that is. And the midfield battle was interesting. Gawn had dominance. He was really dominant, but the Brisbane midfielders just absolutely demolished. I mean, Oliver and Petrarca and Viney were almost rendered useless. I mean, if we look at the disposals, Viney had 23 touches, Track had 20, and then Oliver had 18. Really low numbers there. Great performance by Melbourne, and by Brisbane, which puts them up into 10th on the ladder, and Melbourne go down to 5th. Melbourne do have a bye this week as well, so really they're teetering on the 8 right now. Next up, we have got probably the maybe upset of the round. Oh, maybe there's one more actually, but Essendon, the Dogs. The Western Bulldogs 67, Essendon 96. They got absolutely whacked, walloped. Whatever you want to say, the Essendon Football Club were far too good when it mattered. The game was sort of back and forth in that first half. Essendon were leading at half-time. They gained a little bit of ascendancy in the third quarter, gaining a 2-goal lead. And then that last quarter, Essendon said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals in a row on your head top. Suck your mum. And subsequently, they come away 29-point winners. Thoroughly deserved. They are looking absolutely amazing right now, the Essendon Football Club. And then they looked terrible the week after, though. So they got to get that consistency there. Stringer, some news. He is now a practicing Muslim. So he is following the Islam religion, which I think is interesting. And he's sort of attributed that to maybe some of the on-field success he's having. But Stringer, I thought, was really good. Other players that were good. Hugo Hagen had a good night, but unfortunately just couldn't get the team over the line. Langford had a good night as well. Overall, this is just a game that shows and tells everybody in the world that Luke Beveridge has got to go. Bevo has got to go. He's a fraudulent coach. He's not good enough. And unfortunately for him and for the Western Bulldogs, he's just not good enough. The Dogs find themselves in 11th. Essendon find themselves in 9th. Now, next week, the Dogs will have a test against St Kilda. They could go further down the ladder. Nothing really new about that game. Essendon and the Dogs will be inconsistent teams throughout the year, but the Dogs were so poor. Game of the round next week. arguably, actually, there were some really good games this week. Fucking hell. GWS beat the Saints by 1 point. And wow, it was not expected. I mean, the Giants in the start of the fourth quarter were up by around 37 points. 6 goals up. Easy. I mean, the victory was theirs. It was guaranteed. And St Kilda kicked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals in a row. So close. If it wasn't for a absolutely phenomenal mark by Peating, the substitute in the back line in the dying seconds of the game, back with the flight. Great courage shown there. I think the Giants will not be happy with this. Yes, they got the win, but they are losing Sam Taylor for at least a week. He got really badly concussed. Unfortunately. Unlucky for St Kilda, they played really well, but they just couldn't get the job done, which is unfortunately, although they played a great brand of football and they showed a lot of fight, they don't get the 4 points, which is unfortunate. But they were really consistent up forward. Owens, Caminiti, Membry, Higgins, all multiple goal kickers, and pretty consistent there. They just worked really well together. Brad Hill was great. Fucking hell, Brad Hill was good. And Marshall helped him along the way as well. Unfortunately, what this means for St Kilda now as they come up against the Dogs next week, St Kilda are starting to slip. They're 2 wins from 5 games. They have been better than that though. It is a little bit of a, they are, but they should have done better. And the Giants sit undefeated, top of the ladder. Just. Geelong are coming. Next up, we have got also probably game of the round. Carlton lost 2 points to the Adelaide Football Club. Both teams' O's went. Adelaide finally got a win. Carlton finally got a loss. 14 goals 14 to 16 goals 4. It was the accuracy of the Crows that kept them in this game. And eventually they kicked that final goal to put themselves ahead at the last break. Substitute again, the saviour, Sam Berry, coming off the bench and kicking that clutch final goal, which put the Crows 2 points up. Look, to be completely honest, Carlton deserve it. They got lucky last week against Fremantle. This week, they probably deserve a close loss. And boy, oh boy, it was back and forth. Multiple lead changes. There were times you thought, the biggest margin in the game, if I'm reading this correct, was around 16 points. Phenomenal game of football. I thought Adelaide were the better team, especially considering they were away from home, so a lot of nullifying of the crowd. Curnow, Mackay, once again, Curnow 4 goals, Mackay 2. Taylor Walker with 4 goals as well. Sorry, I'm filming this at 11 p.m. at night. Taylor Walker with 4 goals as well. Rankin and Keys with 3. Keys should have got 4 goals as well. Ben Keys had a phenomenal game. It was a game of forwards, really. High scoring, 98 to 100. It was a game of forwards, but ultimately, one of the golden rules of football, whoever kicks 100 points first win. Adelaide kicked 100 points first. Well, the only team who kicked 100 points, but they kicked 100 points first. And subsequently, they won the game. They get their first win, but they still sit in 14th place with a pretty mediocre 81.8%. Look, the Carlton Football Club would be disappointed. They have dropped from what could have been a first place finish, or 1, 2, or 3, all the way down to 6th place. So it's looking a little bit lackluster for the Blues, who haven't been playing great football in the last couple of weeks, to be completely honest. Next up, we have got probably the most boring game of the season so far. Hawthorn got absolutely demolished by the Gold Coast Football Club, who got a 53-point win, 109 to 56. Boring. Noah Anderson was great. Flanders was good. Ben King was good. Swallow was good. Finn McGuinness somehow got 3 goals. Really poor from the Hawthorn Football Club, who their midfield got demolished, barely got any disposals. I think the disposals discrepancy between the Gold Coast and Hawthorn midfield was deplorable. And we're going to move swiftly on from that because that was just a disgraceful performance. The next game was, I would say, game of the round. I know I've said that before, but this was so exciting. Horn Francis kicks the winning goal for Port Adelaide as they get a clutch 3-point win, 66 to 63. They beat, at home, the Fremantle Football Club, who are now 2 very close and unfortunate losses in Adelaide 2 rounds in a row. So it was back and forth. It looked like for the majority of the game, Fremantle were going to get up, until the young Adelaidean, that's a word, Horn Francis, got the job done. And my oh my, was it, I thought, a game of the ages. The midfield of the Port Adelaide Football Club, again, Butters, even Houston had a good game. Ollie Wines seemingly coming back into a little bit of form. Connor Rosie, good as well. Goal kickers, Tracy was the only 3-goal kicker. Dixon having that massive meltdown as well, which was pretty funny. Really fun game to watch. This puts Port Adelaide in 3rd place on 16 points, only 1 loss. And Fremantle, with 2 close losses, they still have a good percentage at 122, but they are slipping down into 7th, where they could have got at least one of those wins. They would have been sitting 5th or 4th place. Next up, we have got a game which I think we can all move swiftly on from. The Geelong Football Club demolished at home the North Melbourne Football Club, 139-64. North Melbourne lost by 75 points. Jeremy Cameron put on an absolute show. Harry Sheasel was outstanding with 38 touches. You would have seen a video I made on the channel. Harry Sheasel is in Brownlow contention form. I've been putting it out there for at least the last week or two, and people starting to catch on, but I was early onto this. Sheasel with 38 touches, a goal, 23 of those kicks. He had the second most metres gained at 525. He was just absolutely phenomenal. 15 marks the most. The next best was 11. And he got the 3 tackles as well, which is pretty handy. And the goal. What a player he is. Cameron kicking 6 goal was just on absolute fire. But we can move swiftly on from that. The Geelong Football Club find themselves in 2nd place, and North Melbourne are by far the worst team in the comp right now. 18th without a win with a terrible percentage. The last game, I'm not going to go super in depth into this because, as you all know, I film a separate video every week regarding the Richmond Football Club because I am a Richmond Tigers fan. Let's keep this simple. We lost to the West Coast Eagles, 109-70, demolished. That 3rd quarter was absolutely depressing. They ran all over us. They were on top of us. Elliot Yeo, Harley Reid, they're looking good. That midfield, we look deplorable. We have so many injuries, and unfortunately, we find ourselves in 4th last. West Coast on the same amount of points as us, but a less percentage. Look, we didn't have any good players. Jake Warden kicked 6 goals. Our defence got absolutely demolished. Shea Belton was good. Lafau was good. And that is about it. And that concludes our Round 5 recap. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow the TikTok FTFooty, and I'll be seeing you in another video.